Today we're going to be talking about mindset. What's holding you back? What's getting in your way? What's going on in your life? What are the issues that we need to help you resolve? And this will be more, or not just business and doctor, but it'll also include everybody's personal journey. So that's kind of the scope of what we want to chat about today.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one because this is where we're going to help you guys remove some of those blocks that could be getting in your way.
You know, I want to encourage you to take the time afterwards, end of day, lunchtime, today, tomorrow, whenever you can, put it in your calendar so you have a deadline, and then sit down and figure out what's important to you. What is it you wanted to achieve? What did you feel that day that had you fired up about wanting to change something? And depending on when you went through our program, because it changes a lot, you know, one of the questions I ask is, what two decisions right now have you been putting off? What two things, as you sit there, you've been going through life for the last week or two, driving down the road thinking, man, I really need to do this. What are those two things that you have not done yet? And more importantly, in fact, write them down right now. What are the two things that you know that you should make a decision on that you have not? Business, personal, don't care, both, whatever interests you the most. And then the second question I have is, as you're looking at those two items, I want you to think about what it's costing you having not made the decision. You know, for example, let's say it's a health issue and you've been putting off changing your diet, maybe going to see the doctor to get on a cholesterol medicine, whatever the case is. What is it for you that's holding you back? And what's it costing you to not make that decision, to not commit to change it? When you talk about you can't wait to see or try or any of those sorts of statements, you're giving yourself by default an out, an excuse. It's okay if it fails. So how you approach things in life sets the tone for your probability of success, is the point I'm trying to make. And so if you were saying, hey, I will write my goals, or my goal, even that, just having a goal, a resolution, you know, how many people write goals to do something and they don't achieve them? You know, but if by contrast you commit to it of, I no longer, I'll use smoking as an example. You know, I'm going to try to quit smoking. Well, you're set up for failure with that. But by contrast, if I walk into Shar one day and I look at her and I'm a smoker and I say, you know what, Shar, you know, this whole smoking thing has really been getting me down. I'm out of breath. I'm tired of smelling. You look at me funny every time I stink. You know what? I no longer smoke. There's a whole different neurological response to that statement versus I'm gonna try. Because gonna and try doesn't happen too often. I'm going to commit today that I start exercising. I'm going to commit today that I'm going to show up to work on time. I'm going to commit today that I'm going to talk to every single patient about periodontal disease. I'm going to commit today that I'm going to ask every single patient to pay the bill today. Whatever it is for you, imagine if you had that attitude, how much profound change you would see in your life if that's how you approached everything with, I commit. Because it's a completely different story.
If you're going to write down your goals, starting with 2, and you're going to commit to doing something about those goals, start taking inventory of what your mind is saying to you. So for example, our mind is great at saying, I can't, or it's impossible. We as coaches, as AMP coaches, whenever we're there working with the doctor, the staff, the whole team, and we're listening, and I hope my coaches are listening to this because I'm listening for it. We're trying to get you guys to a certain point based off of what you guys are looking to achieve. We can help get you guys there, but if you as a person come behind the scenes and say, I can't, it's impossible, you're setting up roadblocks along the way to where you can't reach your goals the way that you need to reach your goals. So, in working on your goals of what you're setting up, discuss these with your coach. Discuss them with me, the coach, whoever you need to do this with, because if your mindset is I can't, then you've made the choice to just not do something instead of looking at the true options that are really sitting around you that can get you to reach your goals.
If you're ever sitting there in self-talk going, I don't know if I can do this. I think this might be impossible. You know, those are the moments you need to really sit back and go, well, what am I doing to myself right now? And if I'm doing this to myself, what am I doing to the people around me? So earlier I asked the question of what's it costing you to put off that decision or those two decisions that you would need to commit to? Here's the next question. What's it costing the people around you? What's it costing your loved ones? And the reason why I ask that is all too often we won't do things for ourselves, but we'll do them for the people around us that we care about. We'll do them for our children. We'll do them for our spouses. We'll do them for our siblings. We'll do them for our coworkers. We'll take care of people around us oftentimes long before we'll take care of ourselves. So I think it's an important question to always ask is not only is what is this decision costing me, but what's it costing the people around me? And for you doctors sitting here watching this, maybe there's been an instance where you've had a person on the team that's been a challenge for the whole team. Or you're the challenge, and you're holding the whole team back. So now let's go with the doctor one, because that's a better one. I don't want to offend too many people. But let's assume you're the one who's holding something back because you're afraid of failure. You're afraid of rejection. You're afraid. It's always fear-based. Whenever we're saying I can't do something or it's impossible, if you dig deep enough, you're going to come back to some sort of a fear that's holding you back. And it's a fascinating journey to uncover. But now as you're looking at this fear of not even trying it as a result of it, and now you start looking at your team and look through the room right now as you're watching this at the team that you've had for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years. And I want you to look at all of them and imagine how much you've been maybe holding them back from them achieving their success, from them getting raises, from them doing a better job through your leadership. And if you start contemplating it like that, something tells me it's going to cause a little bit of cognitive dissonance, is the psychological term people use, that will become very, very motivating because you're going to start feeling bad. Guilt is a layman's term for cognitive dissonance. And guilt is a great tool, right? It's not that you're a bad person. Guilt just means that maybe you're not doing the right thing, and it should motivate you to change.
I think it's also going to help you pinpoint where you're holding yourself back. And you'll be able to see the cycles within your own life and past of where you've held yourself back up to today's point. So if you're watching this show, you no longer have the excuse of saying, I can't. You no longer have the excuse of saying, I don't have any goals or I don't know how to reach my goals. Because if you're watching this show now going forward, you've got a coach working with you. You've got Darren and I as a team to help support our coaches and you as well in that process and help you get past that mindset, help you get past the blocks of what's holding you back, that I can't, or it's impossible, or I just don't have the time, or I just can't do, X, Y, Z. Anything that keeps coming up as an excuse over and over and over will help you to get out of that vicious cycle.
Yeah, the only other thing I want to say before we play that video is I would below this list what you think is holding you back.
Absolutely.
So you can clearly identify it, and then when you hear the self-talk comes up of I can't do this because of this reason, add it to the list and slowly disarm those issues to where they become less important to you or less influential in your life and in your mind. And I think if you do that, you'll have a reasonably good success. So I want to close with a video, and after this we won't come back on. We'll just close with this because this is profound to me.
It's a good one.
It's an amazing story about somebody who chose to overcome very, very tough odds to accomplish something that I presume is very, very tough. And I don't want to blow the story by saying anything else. So we'll wrap up with this, and then we can't wait to see you next week. What if you could have the practice of your dreams? What's holding you back? Imagine a life where you have everything you ever wanted.